Project in Social Studies. Topic: Fourth Grading Lessons. Chinese and Korean War, Japan in Tokugawa era and Meiji Restoration. Chinese War, the Opium War 1 and 2. The Opium Wars was a two-armed conflict in China during the mid-19th century between the forces of Western countries and of the Qing dynasty. The cause of the First Opium War was the result of China's attempt to suppress the illegal opium trade, which has led to widespread addiction in China. British traders were the primary source of the drug in China. The Second Opium War was the result of the desire of Great Britain and France to win additional commercial privileges in China, including the legalization of the opium trade, as well as to gain more legal and territorial concession in China. The Fourth Opium War was won by the Great Britain. The opium trade continued and China had to compensate Great Britain for its losses. China gave Hong Kong to the British and increased the number of treaty ports where the British could trade and reside. Great Britain and France won the Second Opium War. Chinese concessions, including legalizing the opium trade and providing for the opening of more ports in China, foreign travel in Chinese interior residence for Western envoys in Beijing, and freedom of movement for Christian missionaries. China also gave Great Britain the southern portion of the Kowloon Peninsula and Yazd to Hong Kong. Chinese War, Taiping Rebellion. Taiping Rebellion is a radical, political, and religious upheaval that was probably the most important event in China. In the 19th century, it lasted for some 14 years, 1850 to 1864. Ravaged 17 provinces, took an estimated 20 million lives, and irrevocably altered the Qing dynasty, 1644 to 1911 or 1912. The rebellion began under the leadership of Hong Xiuquan, 1814 to 1864. A disappointed civil service examination candidate who, influenced by Christian teachings, had a series of visions and believed himself to be the Son of God, the younger brother of Jesus Christ, sent to reform China. A friend of Hong's, Fen Yunshan, utilized Hong's idea to organize a new religious group. The group is the God Worshippers Society, Bang Shang Ji He, which he formed among the impoverished peasants of Guangxi province. Chinese War, Boxer Rebellion. Boxer Rebellion officially supported peasants' uprising of 1900s that attempted to drive all foreigners from China. Boxers was a name that foreigners gave to a Chinese secret society known as Yi He Quan, righteous and harmonious feast. The group practiced certain boxing and calisthenic rituals in the belief that this made them invulnerable. It was thought to be an offshoot of the Eight Trigrams Society, Bagujian, which had fomented rebellions against the Qing dynasty. In the late 18th and early 19th centuries, their original aim was the destruction of the dynasty and also of the Westerners who had a privileged position in China. Chinese War, the Japanese and Chinese War 1 and 2. First Sino-Japanese War, conflict between Japan and China in 1894 to 1895 that marked the emergence of Japan as a major world power and demonstrated the weakness of Chinese empire. The war grew out of conflict between the two countries of supremacy in Korea. Korea had long been China's most important client state, but its strategic location opposite the Japanese island and its natural resources of coal and iron attracted Japan's interest. In 1875, Japan had begun to adopt Western technology, forced Korea to open itself to foreign, especially Japanese trade, and to declare itself independent from China in its foreign relations. Second Sino-Japanese War, 1937 to 1945. Conflict that broke out when China began a wholesale resistance to the expansion of Japanese influence in its territory, which had begun in 1931. The war, which remained undeclared until December 9, 1941, may be divided into three phases: a period of Japanese advance until the end of 1938, a period of virtual stalemate until 1949, and the final period when Allied counterattacks pridefully in the Pacific and on Japan's home island brought about Japan's surrender. Japan in Tokugawa era. Tokugawa period, or also called Edo period, 1603 to 1867. The final period of traditional Japan, a time of interval peace, political stability, and economic growth under the shogunate military dictatorship, founded by Tokugawa Ieyasu. As shogun, Ieyasu achieved hegemony over the entire country by balancing the power of potentially hostile domains, Tozama, with strategically placed allies Fudai and collateral houses Shimpan. As a further strategy of control beginning in 1635, Ieyasu's successor required the dominal lords, or daimyo, to maintain households in the Tokugawa administrative capital of Tokyo, previously Edo, and reside there for several months every other year. The resulting system of semi-autonomous domains directed by the central authority of the Tokugawa shogunate lasted for more than 250 years. Meiji Restoration. Meiji Restoration in Japanese history, the political revolution in 1868 that brought about the final demise of the Tokugawa shogunate military government, thus ending the Edo Tokugawa period, 1603 to 1867, and at least nominally returned control of the country to direct imperial rule under Mitsuhito, the Emperor Meiji, in a wider context. However, the Meiji Restoration of 1868 came to be identified with subsequent era of major political, economic, and social change. Meiji period, 1868 to 1912, that brought about the modernization and westernization of the country. Korean War. Korean War conflict between the DPRK, Democratic People's Republic of Korea, and the Republic of Korea (ROK), in which at least 2.5 million persons lost their lives. The war reached international proportions in June 1950, when North Korea, supplied and advised by the Soviet Union, invaded the South. The United Nations, with the United States as the principal participant, joined the war on the side of the South Koreans, and the People's Republic of China came to North Korea's aid.